What's up, everybody? I am Justin, and I am so glad that you're tuning in to LGBT Outdoors Live. We have got a great program lined up for you tonight. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Before we get to our special guest, I just want to go over a couple things with you. Want to be sure that you are liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel so that you're getting notifications every time we go live, so you can keep up to date with all of our cool videos and everything that we have going on here and helping us grow that channel. Some big news that happened this week for us that we're really excited about is we were on the cover and in the Dallas Voice, which is amazing. We're so thankful for them, for everything that they have done, for putting the story together, and the article and everything that went along with that. We also want to let you know about our Facebook group. If you're not aware of that, it is facebook.com/group/LGBT Outdoors. You can go there and stay connected as well. It's a great place to get connected with other people that think and love the outdoors like you do. It's a great resource. Check it out, join, meet new friends, and we'd love to see you there. Our guest tonight is coming to us all the way from Utah, and we're super excited to have Michael with us. Michael is a professional river guide out there, and he has some amazing information and knowledge that he wants to bring to us tonight. So with no further ado, we welcome Michael. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining us. I want to start off. Yeah, absolutely. I want to start off before we dive into all this and let our viewers know that if anybody has questions throughout any of this, to let us know. You can type those in the message box there and we will be sure to get to them. If not during, at the end, we will wrap up with those questions. And then after that, at the end, we have a really special announcement that we're going to make too. So Michael, let's start off. Just share a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, kind of your background. We'd love to learn more about you.
Well, I grew up in Ohio. I was born and raised in Toledo. I went to college at a place called Hocking College where I studied ecotourism, actually. That's where I kind of found the love for the outdoors. It also is kind of what brought me to being a raft guide. I've lived all over the place, somewhat, from the Bahamas to Panama, to southern Florida in the Everglades and East Tennessee, and now I'm living in Utah. So,
very cool. And how did you end up in Utah?
I kind of came out. I was actually chasing away from a guiding job. I'd been traveling, and I lost a job in the Everglades to Hurricane Irma in 2015 or 2017. And I came out here to visit a friend and fell in love with the mountains and came back out here. And it only took 6 months for me to go back into guiding. I found a rafting company and a snowshoe hiking company out here who's been great, and I've been working for them ever since.
Very cool. I would think it wouldn't take much to fall in love with Utah from the photos I've seen that you've shared as well. I know for me,
It's
like,
still the most beautiful state that I've been to.
yeah, I have a lot of passion for Colorado myself, probably because I haven't been to Utah yet, but if I ever get to Utah and see the mountains there, probably go to another level yet for me. But absolutely love the mountains. Was it a big change going from Everglades to Utah?
Yeah, because I was living in Knoxville and the Smoky Mountains. I would go from Knoxville or East Tennessee to the Everglades, and I was following the sunshine, 90 degrees, humidity, mosquitoes. So coming out here was a huge change. But I've fallen in love. I mean, we have hiking in our backyard. I mean, we're 4 hours from any huge whitewater. We got about 45 minutes out of Salt Lake. We got 2 different rivers you can float with great scenery. So adjusting here wasn't too bad.
Very cool. Tell me a little bit about like your childhood, or where did the passion for the outdoors come into play? Was that something that came in from your family as a child or later in life?
Somewhat. My family grew up in Toledo. That's right on Lake Erie. We had a boat and a camper. It's a community campground that my dad grew up fishing with. And here and there, I would go fishing with them. We'd go kayaking. But it wasn't really until I got into the degree that I got into that I fell in love with stuff like backpacking, multi-day river trips, scuba diving, sea kayaking. So the degree that I was in college really offered that opportunity to dive into all those sports. So I was pretty new into it, but I soon fit in, and I can't say I'm an expert at anything. I've just tried a lot of different things.
I think that's the best way to find out what you really like, though,
Yeah,
is just trying it all out. But
exactly.
it sounds like you've had amazing opportunities to try out a lot of things, and apparently the rafting is what has really stuck or jumped out.
Yeah, it's there's something about being in the rafting community. There's something about spending the summer with your friends, whether it's in Utah, whether it's in Tennessee. Um, there's a picture of me in an orange boat. That's Utah, and then the yellow boat. I work for NRC. It's just a community. Everybody treats each other like family, and it's hard to walk away from. I know I still am close friends with a lot of the people that I work with on the river.
Very cool. What made you decide to do the actual guiding though? Like that's taking rafting to a whole other level. Like,
Like getting into the tourism degree.
yeah, yeah.
So I started in college actually as an education degree, and then I found the tourism degree through a friend, and it just sounded cool. I was in college, and I wanted to be doing something fun, and I never actually believed that it would take me this far, but it has. And um, in college, I got the chance to study abroad in the Bahamas. So I was on Andros Island. There, I was sea kayaking and I was learning about marine biology. We were scuba diving. I also got the opportunity to become a dive master when I was there as well. So I think it was that Bahamas trip that really shaped me into who I am becoming and who I became into the outdoor industry. Because I returned home from there and I was working for a scuba shop in Columbus until I departed for Panama. And so I was in Panama in 2013, 14, and sometimes forget my years. But I was actually kayaking guide there, and that was a really good opportunity as well. But I returned back home and went right back to rafting. It always seems to happen. There's something about the month of May, the month of April, that the river, you just start to miss it. And there's so many people that I know who live 9 months out of the year for 3 months of rafting, and I really do not blame them.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
before we dive into that whole world, let's back up to
Hmm.
Panama for a little bit because I just feel like that's something we really should touch on a little bit. Panama
Yeah.
was before you came out, though, right?
Yes.
So,
So, interestingly, it was actually the first time I've been asked if I was gay. That's something I haven't actually told anyone before, but I lived with a older gentleman on a houseboat on a canal, and I like kayaking tours. So, if you're familiar with Panama, I was off of Gamboa, and we're on Lake Gatun, and it was a 30-minute boat ride from this small little dock in or on Gamboa through the jungle, and I lived on the houseboat, and we really got to know each other. But he asked me, he's like, Mike, are you gay? And I denied it through and through. I wasn't ready for it. But at that time, I would say I knew. I mean, I can say that I've knew for a really long time. So,
yeah.
but that job was cool. I mean, I got to live on a houseboat with a monkey. His name was Boo. He was a limorous night monkey. He is the reason why I never slept because he would jump around the room, and then my job was to get him back in his crate before I went to work.
So he was like
But
a
we also
pet.
had we had some birds on the houseboat. We had a crocodile in which we saved. But
Wait, you
that was
saved
a
a
really cool
crocodile?
opportunity. Yeah, he had lived on the houseboat prior to my arrival, and
The
he
crocodile
was
lived on the houseboat. Where are
yeah.
these photos at? We need some of these photos.
I was actually
This is fascinating.
trying to dig up. I need to get out my point and shoot. I have a point and shoot camera that still has all the photos from when I was in Panama that I would love to share of the monkeys,
I got to
to
hear about saving
cans.
the crocodile before we go forward. Like that's something I just got to hear
So
about.
I can't touch base on the actual story of how he came to save it, but I can tell you like the monkey.
Okay.
So it was a limurus night monkey, and we had encountered it without its mom as a baby. And so something about that monkey is if they don't have their parent with them at a youth age, um, like animals like the crocodiles and caimans down there would eat them. So my boss made the decision to save the monkey and raise it on a houseboat, but also put it in my room. And the crocodile. I don't know the story how he actually rescued the crocodile, but he was about a yay big, and the
Well,
tour company is Jungle Land, Panama. You can go out and check them out or check him out, and there's probably a picture of a little crocodile. But we used to, and this is not something that I would, to this day, really fully support. So I studied ecotourism, but one thing that we did at night for the house guests is we went out into this dugout canoe, and there was 20-year-old Mike sitting at the front of the boat with this huge beam light,
yeah.
and we would scan the shorelines and we'd look for the red eyes of the crocs and the caimans, and this would be something that we took the guests to. They'd be sitting in between me and our boat captain, and I would have to like get up to the crocodile and stun him with the beam. So like my hand is in his face, and that was a good way to become friendly with the
Uh,
reptile.
well, I'm glad you never lost a hand. That would make it a little bit awkward to be a
Yeah,
river guy with only one hand.
I know.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, let's fast forward then to your coming out. What was
Mhm.
that like? Because that's kind of what we really want to share about, especially being in the outdoor industry as a gay person, kind of what that's like. But let's start with the coming out and how that all happened.
So off and on feelings since I was a first year in college, and then I came out when I was living in the Everglades. There were three people who I told, three of my best friends, and one of them lived in Key Largo. Her name is Nicole. She still today is one of my best friends, but I decided on Christmas Eve that year to tell her, and I was so scared. And I actually told her, I know you probably don't want to be friends with me anymore, but I got to share with you that I'm gay. And instantly, she gave me a huge hug. I was bawling my eyes out, and it just occurred to me that I had finally come out of the closet, and she was so supportive. And like on that first conversation, she was like, Mike, I still see you as the same person,
Hmm.
which was really a big relief. And so I was actually living in the Everglades at that point. So I was visiting her. And I went home to the Everglades, and I spent the rest of that winter kind of trying to figure myself out. I was a little bit lonely. And I didn't know where I was going to go with my coming out process from there. But I decided to head back to East Tennessee and the Pigeon River, and that's where I slowly, oh, I was a disaster trying to come out. Like I slowly just started talking to different people at the outpost. Like, we'd be by the campfire, and I'd go up to my friend Brett, like, Brett, come over here. Let me talk to you. And I slowly just started to come out to the 30 plus people that were there, and everybody was welcoming. I never had one person who I worked with on the river really give me any negative tone, any negative idea that they weren't supportive, and it was nothing but strong support. So
Wow.
just coming out of the closet, being around all these people for 3 4 months was exactly what I needed as just came out gay man, to feel the support of the people that you love the most.
Yeah.
So it was really nice, and that ended up leading me to telling the rest of my family, friends, in the future. But it was really that summer, I think it was 2016, that really shaped me as a gay man.
That's awesome. And your family,
Mhm.
were they as welcoming and supportive about it as your friends?
Yeah, it was a shocker to them. I know they didn't know what to think at first, but over time they have been the most supportive family. 2 summers ago, I was back working in Tennessee, and my dad gave me a phone call, and he's like, "Mike, I want to go walk in the Toledo Pride Parade with you,"
No
which is
way,
where I
really?
grew up. So my mom's work was a big donated a lot of money into the Pride events in Toledo,
Wow.
and so we got a float, and so my cousin, my dad, my mom, and I, we all wore some fun rainbow gear, and we walked in the Pride Parade, which has been like a highlight of my life and coming out, and
I
it was a
bet.
really really touching time. And they're very supportive to this day still. They'd love to see what I do, and love to see that I still love the outdoors because um, it's kind of where my heart's at.
Yeah, for sure. And they part of the outdoors as well?
My dad's a fisherman through and through. So I'm with my mom. She will outfish you any day. They live on Lake Erie. They have a sport fisherman boat. They're out catching walleye and perch throughout the summertime. Um, they visited me in Utah. I got to show them some really cool hikes, and they saw why I lived out here. We made a trip down to the national parks. So they're not as outdoorsy as myself, but they definitely love fishing and supporting it.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
How did, now that we've gotten to the part of your story where you're out as a guide,
Hmm.
um, how does that affect your work then in the outdoor industry? Obviously, you're saying that your friends that you've come out to are supportive, and maybe your clientele doesn't know, or maybe they do.
Hmm.
Does this affect anything for you personally?
So today, no. I mean, depends on the tour that I'm giving. I remember my first few years coming out working on the river. I definitely tried to be this alpha male. I laugh about it, but it just always it stood better with the people in the boat. It stood better just because I mean it goes even into women, and they're just looking. I've always felt that they were looking for that alpha macho like man, but over time, I've just come to realize that I like to be myself, and being myself on these tours that I give today is what really makes the tours, I think, great. I work for a company in Park City who is the most supportive company as well, and they just let me be myself. They're all about self representation. When I'm out on these tours, I used to be a lot more scared to maybe say that I had an ex boyfriend, or maybe to say, like, sometimes it would slip, but now I don't say that I'm gay, but if it comes up, I normally may just talk about a he experience, and then there's sometimes a pause. But that pause typically, you just keep moving forward. I have had an instance though where I didn't know how to feel, but I felt unwelcomed and uncomfortable to some comments that um, one of my guests on the raft said to me, which I will share. So I was, as raft guides, we paint our toenails. It's something that we do because of because of how long our feet are in the water. At least that's what we tell the guests. And we know that there's clear toenail paint, but we still have fun with it. And I love to give like French tips, and we like to get real creative. Fourth of July, the girls come out, they give us American flags, and we are looking really good. Well, and we also wear chakras, so it's very obvious that we have our toenails
and,
painted.
and wait, pause 1 second. Why do you paint your toenails?
Because of how long our feet are in the water, so being that we're wedging our feet underneath the thwart or the seat in front of us, what can happen is your toenail can weaken. And if
Oh.
you were to be pulled from that seat, you could tear your toenail. So
Oh.
adding toenail paint actually strengthens, as I think, the toenails. But people who don't paint their toenails have never broken a toe. So that's still a mystery, but I still paint my toenails.
Well, it makes it fun doing French tips and
Yeah,
American
exactly.
flags and everything. So,
Um, that's what I'm saying. So I was just getting on the river. So the Pigeon River is class 3, 4. It's fun water. And this guy looks back. He goes, "Your toenails are painted." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." He's like, "Are you one of them Chris Jenner types?" And I was just like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "I'm just wondering." I was like, he's like, "Are you one of them Chris Jenner types?" And I was like, "That's probably not something you want to
wow.
tell the guide who's in charge of your life for the next hour, but thank you for asking."
Wow.
So
Well,
that was an instance, and I really shrugged it off, and I like didn't know how to think about it. But like I went home, I digested it, and like, was it a transphobic comment? I'd say yes. I mean, we've come a long ways with that, but I was,
yeah.
yeah, it kind of threw me off.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get you. Like, I could tell you a little story about me and my husband. We were doing a video project for on Royal Caribbean, and we were on one of the cruises, and we were in the elevator. It's him and I, and then this family, husband, wife, and two young girls. And the husband, no, none of them say anything to us, but all of a sudden he looks over at us and he goes, "I know what's going on here." And Patrick and I are like, "What's going on here?" And he's like, "Brothers on a cruise." And we were just like, "What?" No, no, not even close. But it's one of those moments where
Oh
it's
God.
like, what do you do in this moment? I know a lot of our people
Mm-hmm.
that are watching are like, well, we tell them that we're gay and educate them and
Mm-hmm.
all this, blah, 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 or whatever. But in the moment, you're just like, it, is it? It's probably mostly just being naive and ignorant and
Mm-hmm.
not thinking any more of it. But we do have a long ways to go of educating people.
We do.
That's for sure. Especially when it comes to the outdoors. Like, I think that's for a lot of our community. They're kind of afraid to even venture outdoors because, like you were saying earlier, it's a lot of masculinity and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, and being able to be free and just be yourself in the outdoors is such a liberating thing. But one of our missions, one of the things we want to do is let people know like the outdoors belongs to everyone. It doesn't belong to just
Absolutely.
macho straight white men. And so we want to encourage people to break down those barriers and get outdoors and enjoy it because it's here for you.
Yeah, Patty Gona, our famous drag queen. She's one of my biggest role models in what she's done and
Yeah.
bringing high heels to the top of mountains and just showing like that is what you just said is what she's been working on. I feel like for a few
Yep.
years, and so I think she's paving the path for the future. I think myself, that was 4 years ago to this date. If that were to happen on one of my tours, I would speak up and I would educate. I think I'm, I would say like more mature and more able to handle the conversation like that
Yeah.
today better than I was a little bit younger, still coming out, still figuring out who I was. But I'm fully there for the entire LGBTQ plus community, and it doesn't matter who you are. You if you want to be outdoors, you got to be outdoors. And I know for the companies that I work for, if you were lesbian, gay, bi, trans, no matter what, you would be welcome to work for them because I know the support that they've given me would express to the entire community.
That's awesome. That's incredible to
Yeah.
know that there are those companies out there. There's a lot of companies out there that will
Mm-hmm.
be supportive. There's also some that
And like it
won't.
surprises me, like it really does. A lot of the outdoor industry is welcoming these days, and I meet it through my travels. And when I travel, I do like to hire tour guides. I mean, I'm a tour guide myself, but like I'm going down to the Narrows here soon. I love to learn more about the Narrows, so I'm going to hire a guide, and I'm not afraid to show that I'm part of the LGBTQ community. I think we still have a long ways to go, but I think we are moving in the right direction.
Absolutely. Do you have any thoughts on what we can do as the LGBTQ community to be able to push forward more in the outdoors and make it more of a welcoming place? One, as a member of the LGBTQ community, but also trying to get the professional side more on board with acceptance and letting people know you're welcome.
So I think sort of what you guys do already, but local hiking groups is a great start. And not those that are specific to just gay men, just lesbians, just trans. I think one that's to the whole community,
Yeah.
because I feel like people of different sectors of the community, like gay men and trans, and you guys can all get out there together and share the love of the outdoors. And doing
Yeah.
that in small hiking groups in local communities is a great way to start. I think just being yourself, as a professional standpoint, being yourself gets you a really long way. Coming out to me has been the biggest gift, and I was so scared. I mean, like shaking scared. I mean, even looking back on it, I can still wake up some days and be like, wow, I can't believe how far I've come, how I used to feel. But
Yeah.
I mean, I just accepted who I was and I moved forward, and I built small circles that turned into bigger circles, that turned into more acceptance. And I think for anybody out there who may be looking for a place to fit in, to reach out and see if there's a local hiking group. If you're in Utah and you want to come hike with me, please reach out to me. I'm doing it all the time, 3, 4, 5 days a week. Even if I'm not working, I'm hiking, and I would love to bring everybody in the LGBTQ plus community, no matter where I live, together. Something that
Yeah.
Park City's been working on is a Park City Pride. I think that is amazing. It is bringing people in smaller towns like Park City, Heber, together. It's a lot of moms who are supportive of their children but don't feel supported because of different people around them in their schools. But coming together as a community, I think, is a great way to start.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think we have a question we're going to pop up here for you from Brian Buck, one of our ambassadors in Colorado. Hey, Brian. Thanks, Mike, for speaking. How did you achieve that balance of being your version of yourself and being an outdoors fan?
Um, that's a good question. So, the version of myself. Honestly, I think it came through guiding. I mean, you meet hundreds and thousands of people a year guiding, and you get a chance to tell your story, you get a chance to express yourself, and over time, you just slowly build that confidence. And I think with the love and support of the people around me, knowing my peers, my colleagues who are always supportive of me, um, gave me the opportunity to gain that comfort and move forward. Um, I still have a long ways to go, though.
Very cool. Love that. I think we all have a long ways to go, but as long as we keep
Yeah,
moving forward, at least we're doing headed in the right direction.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, do you have any cool stories that you might want to share with us about being gay as a guide? Any connections with any guests or friends that you've been able to impact by being able to be an LGBTQ person in leadership in the outdoors?
Yeah. On social media, I've always voiced that if anybody ever has trouble coming out, if anybody ever feels they need to talk to somebody, they have questions, to please reach out under full discretion. And ever since I've done that, it's been very rewarding. And there's been multiple people, and I'll never drop a name, that have come and just talked to me about maybe some feelings or maybe the idea of it. And that's been a big thing for me. Um, I've met, oh, I love a 12 or 13-year-old trans girl was on my rafting trip. Her parents were so supportive. It was an amazing trip. That was in Tennessee. That was about 2 years ago, and I was so happy to have gotten them. And like the various others, and sometimes I do get lucky, and I maybe get um, somebody in the LGBTQ community to get on my boat or get on one of my hiking tours. But not always. But I mean, I love hearing the other guides who do, and I know that they're accepting them. And
Yeah.
so it's been few and far between though, because sometimes you don't get to know your guests long enough to know if they are part of the LGBTQ community, and they may also
Sure.
not be willing to share that in the public.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm guessing probably not everybody just brings a big old pride flag out there and that's announcing
no,
that
but we
they're
would
gay.
love if you did.
We would love it if you did. And be sure to tag us in those photos if you do, because that's awesome.
Absolutely. If we could bring a pride march down the river with some flags, that would be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll
Hey,
do that
maybe
this
that's
summer.
something that you could work on. A river pride. That could be kind of cool.
Um, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I kind of already have been starting one, but I can't really share
Oh,
too much details on that yet because we're in the midst of a pandemic, and I just want to make sure if I do this, I want to do it safely.
absolutely. Once the
Yeah.
speaking of pandemic, once the pandemic is over, do you or it's clearer for us to be getting more outdoors and active in groups and stuff? Do you have any
Mhm.
adventures planned or any big trips or anything that you're wanting to do?
Yeah, really big trips. So I'm actually going to be starting a business, um, leading LGBTQ tours and expeditions internationally and domestically, striving to follow the ecotourism ethics, which is responsible travel, supporting local communities, supporting local businesses, and leaving less of a footprint. This is something I'm going to be doing in 2021. And I'm also going to be taking a backpacking trip when it's safe to Central America. I plan to spend some time in Panama again. I plan to head to Costa Rica, Peru, Belize. What I want to do is I want to meet with companies that I know are going to be welcoming to the entire LGBTQ community, and I want to build tour packages so that people can feel safe while they travel internationally. And then I would love for you guys to follow me on that journey. I'm going to be vlogging at my best capabilities about that trip and the stories and the obstacles that I'm going to come across, because I'm definitely going to be put into some very awkward, uncomfortable situations, expressing that I'm gay and that I would love to bring gay people here, which I'm sure some are going to be welcoming, but I'm also sure some may not. But I'm going to be sharing that through my Instagram and the journey of that trip. So by 2022, I do want to be have that business going, um, which would be great, and to see where it goes. To me, it's supporting the LGBTQ community and the efforts of ecotourism and sustainable travel.
That sounds incredible, and you're going to have to definitely be keeping in touch with us during that because we would
Absolutely.
love to do more work with you, and maybe even while you
Hmm.
are down in Belize or Costa Rica or wherever, coming back and doing a live with us from down there
Yeah,
and sharing about what's going
absolutely.
on. I think we have another question for you from Jason. Mike, what is your favorite hike or outdoor place that is a must see or do? That's a great question.
Oh, that is a great question. Which state, which place do you want to go? My favorite hike in ooh, I hate sharing the spot, but I'm gonna share it anyways. The place of Escalante, Utah. Escalante is a national monument. If you ever get the chance to, there's a road down there called Hole in the Rock Road, and there's a hike called Coyote Gulch. It is a gulch that you can spend 2 nights in, or you can make it into a day trip. You just have to have four-wheel drive. It is the most beautiful place I've ever been. If
Wow.
I'm in Salt Lake though, and you're looking to do a fun day hike, there's Lake Blanche, which is can be a little staircase stepper. It's a little it's not advanced, but it's intermediate hiking, but it leads to beautiful alpine lakes with a beautiful view of the mountains in the background. Those are two of my favorite hikes.
Very cool.
Hmm.
Before we wrap up, I'm going to leave you with a big question of final thoughts. Anything else that you want to drive home with our viewers and our community that might be watching?
Um, we have talked about a lot.
We
Just
have
to
talked
be
about.
like going back to being yourself, and I think if anybody ever wants to reach out, please message me on Instagram. I will gladly have a conversation with you. I will gladly FaceTime, text message. If you're feeling like you're in a situation, whether you're in the outdoors or somebody who's not into the outdoors, but you want to be, reach out. And if you're in a small town, look into your community hikes and maybe look into starting one. Team up with you guys and see
Yeah.
what can be done because I think that's going to be a great start to move forward. Yeah,
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I know we've thrown it up a couple times already, but we're going to throw your Instagram up again. Be sure that you
yeah,
give
thank you.
Michael a follow at his Instagram account, ake.ar.ma, and you can DM him and connect with him there if you'd like. Michael, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We
Thank
really
you,
appreciate
Justin.
your knowledge and your wisdom that you've been able to pour out. And so thank you so much
Well,
for doing that for us.
thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You have a good night.
You
All right, going to do a couple little things before we wrap up here. I do definitely want to be sure to promote Michael's Instagram. Go out there and hit that. I think that he has some amazing knowledge and wisdom that you can pick up from his Instagram, as well as some stunning photos from his hikes and adventures and rafting guides that he leads. So, big announcement that we are going to make as we wrap up tonight. We are doing our first weekend event that is going to be called LGBT Outdoor Fest on September 24th through the 26th. I will preface that by saying that does depend on what COVID is doing, but everything is looking good right now. The event is going to be held at Rainbow Ranch in Texas, and we are super excited to partner with them on this event. We're going to have an amazing time with workshops. We're going to have workshops on birding and archery and hiking and camping and fly fishing, and we have some amazing instructors that are going to be teaching them, and it's just going to be a great time to just bond and come together and get outdoors and be gay, I guess. And we're going to partner with some other great outdoor resources too that are going to help really put the outdoors in a tangible way for you to be able to explore some of more of those passions that you guys might have. So here's what we would love for you to do. We've got some information about it on our website already. Our website is lgbtoutdoors.com. If you go to it, at the top you'll see LGBT Outdoors Fest 2021. There's quite a bit of information. There's more that's going to be coming. Registration is actually going to open up on February 7th. So if you want to be one of the first ones to know exactly when that's opened and to be reminded about that, fill out your name, email, hit submit. I'll put you on a list, and as soon as registration is open, we will send that to you. Because the first 2 months that registration is open, it's going to be early bird pricing. So that's going to be the best time to get in. If you have any questions about that, contact us. We'd love to answer them for you. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to keep you connected there. Also, check out our Instagram. We're getting close to 10,000 and we want to hit that. It's just LGBT Outdoors as well. Until next time, we want to thank you for tuning in tonight and to remind you to be kind, be you, and be safe out there. Have a good night.